What up, Flow Track? The 2019 Pre-National Invitational is upon us, and here is the deal. We have top-ranked teams from across the nation duking it out on the Terre Haute course. On the women's side, we have BYU, Colorado, Michigan, Washington, all duking it out to see who's going to be the top favorite team come nationals. On the men's side, it's the same situation. We got the BYU men, the Colorado men, the Washington men. Also throw in Oklahoma State. What can they do? Isai Rodriguez, watch out for him. It's going to be wild. Check it all out live on Flow Track.
Hello and welcome to the 2019 Under Armour Pre-Nationals Invitational live from Terre Haute, Indiana. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Kevin Sully, joined by Alex Lohr. My first trip this season to the course that's going to play host to the NCAA Championships. But Alex, at this point, you're a veteran.
Yeah, it's good to be back here. Again, hosted by Indiana State University, the Laverne Gibson Cross Country Course just outside of Terre Haute, Indiana, in the heartland of America. A beautiful day, a crisp morning. The fall colors are coming into the course, and we've got ourselves teed up for a perfect day of cross country. And we're in the heart of it now, Kevin. No more messing around, no more holding anybody back. This is the middle of the season, and we get to see who the real contenders are.
Yeah, I get a look there at the schedule after this meet. Everything has championship or championship implications behind it. We have the conference championships coming up in November, then the regionals on November 15th, and then the big day, November 23rd, the D1, D2, and D3 national championships, all live on Flow Track. Before we go any further, though, let's start and talk about this meet. Let's talk about this race, this women's race that's coming up at 11 a.m. A lot of top teams to watch here: BYU, Michigan, Washington, and the defending champion Colorado Buffaloes all in action.
Yeah, and I think it'll be really interesting to see. You know, we have some of the top squads at Wisconsin, but there's a lot of teams here that also think that they might be on the podium come November. Defending national champions in Colorado, maybe a little not as deep this year, but they really get to see that true shape and true form of the Buffaloes, and can they defend that national championship?
Yeah, and BYU coming off a big win at the Bill Dellinger meet. We'll see if they can back up that performance here today. On the men's side of things, same story. You got BYU, you have Colorado, you have Washington coming in that had a lot of preseason hype, a lot of preseason expectations. Curious to see what roster they roll out, because for them it was all about, do we plan for 2020? Do we go all in for 2019? Here's a good shot here at those men's teams to watch, Alex.
Yeah, I think you mentioned, and that Battle of Beantown mean went off. Washington didn't have a great day. I think, Coach Powell, he'll take it, he's patient and have his guys ready to roll. But also the story is, again, Colorado versus BYU. Colorado men, some really strong front runners. BYU, same thing. Some strong altitude mountain regional battles coming on. We get to see a little teaser of that this weekend, and I'm interested to see. I mean, we know those squads both have some guys that contend up front, but it's that 3 through 5
right,
for both BYU and Colorado that we need to find out about today to see if they're really going to be contender come November.
Also a fascinating individual battle to watch in the men's race. We'll dig more into that later, but Athanas Kyoko of Campbell, who introduced himself to the NCAA a couple weeks ago at the Live in Lou Classic, along with Isai Rodriguez, who's coming back after taking outdoor off, but was the surprise of the 2019 season, and Connor Mance. Connor Mance, the BYU front running. His coach Ed Eyestone says he's got a little bit of pre in him. It was pre-nationals last year that we got to see that aggressive racing style from him for the first time. So the individual race will be fun as well.
Yeah, and I think, we talk about those front runners. We talk about this course. On a nice day, and only a little bit of wind that we have going right now, some of those front runners, that can really change the dynamic of a race, especially on a flat-ish course. This is not quite the track meet that Wisconsin is, but I think there are some elements and some characters in today's race that might make it feel a little more like a track race.
Yeah, and obviously, if nothing else, great preparation for the national championship meet. That's why teams go here, to get a little dress rehearsal, to get a dry run before the big show in a month. So it'll be interesting to see both individually, team, what the takeaways are at the end of the weekend. Wisconsin gave us a lot to think about, pre-nationals even more so. And you mentioned the weather. It's pretty nice out here today.
Yeah, and a perfect crisp day as well. And let's get down to the course to get a real taste of what it feels like on the grass.
Hey guys, it's Johanna Gretschel reporting for FlowTrack. I'm at the Laverne Gibson Championship Cross Country course. Welcome to Terre Haute, Indiana. It is a gorgeous, sunny day. Words that I really did not think I was going to say today, given the notorious nature of Indiana this time of year. But it is a crisp 50 degrees out right now, and the temperatures are projected to rise all the way up to a high of 70 degrees today. Now, the men's and women's blue races at 11 a.m. and 11:35 a.m. should still be under that 60-degree mark. It'll be about 56 degrees at the start of the women's race and just a little bit under 60 for the start of the men's race. Perfect running conditions. But as we keep going throughout the day, the men's and women's white races, and especially the men's and women's open races towards later afternoon, are going to hit closer to 70. Let me tell you, though, as a native Texan, these temperatures are gorgeous, and the southern teams are definitely going to enjoy this weather right now. Maybe the northern teams a little bit later in the afternoon might be a little warm for them, but the wind is negligible right now. It's less than 4 miles per hour, and I think we should expect to see some really fast times today. That's something that the athletes can definitely appreciate, given that when we return here in November for the NCAA championships, I think we can all expect to see a little bit more of those cold, snowy, gritty conditions in Terre Haute that we've come to love so much here in Indiana. That's my weather report for today. Back up to Kevin and Alex for the rest of the broadcast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you to Johanna. Yeah, she brings up some great points. You can mimic the course, but the conditions obviously are going to be much different in November.
Yeah, and I think even visually, it's great to. The reason we have this pre-nat meet is to get that kind of like visual and mental identity. Where JoJo just was, I mean, there's this final 400-meter straightaway, Kevin, at Terre Haute that it's the longest 400 meters of your life, and you really need to know what that's going to feel like when it comes to NCAAs. When team points are on the line, the amount of points that are between like a 20-second gap, I mean, championships are won and lost in this final straightaway. And if you shoot your kick too early, then you're gonna lose out. It's the difference between being an All-American and being in the triple digits.
Let's dive more into this women's race, because that's the one that's going to kick off at 11 a.m. You saw earlier those top teams. BYU, very interested to see what they do. They come in with the number 3 ranking off that dominant Dillinger win. Whitney Orton, who was the top runner for BYU, she's not racing today, so they'll be led by Erica Burke, as they have been for most of Erica Burke's career. She was 7th in the NCAA last year, 5th in the steeplechase. She's one to watch. So I'm interested to see, though, beyond that top runner for BYU and their second runner today, who normally is their third runner, Courtney Wayman, beyond those two, can they form that other pack that's going to put them potentially on the podium? Yeah,
we've had a cool kind of insight into the BYU women's season so far, where they kicked off that awesome workout earlier in the season, or early in the cross-country season. BYU, we chatted a little bit off camera. They're in an interesting situation for especially the next 4 weeks of the season. This is when coaches really have to be careful with the workload. BYU has a little, maybe a little weaker conference championship coming up, but then they have mountain regionals as well. And so you really have to pick your battles. And this is when, one person has to sit out, one person gets mono, one person has a stress fracture. It's a really tough little nuance that coaches have to dance right now. And so I'm interested to see who they're choosing their 3 through 5 and 6 to be on this weekend, and how they hold up coming into November.
Having Orton there with Burke, though, I mean, a huge plus for BYU. It's not because Burke isn't running well. It's that Orton's taken that leap, potentially top 10 in the nation. Let's talk about the defending champion, though, Colorado Buffaloes. They lose 4 of their top 7 from last year. They did not win at the Joe Piani meet. They got beat by an upstart Utah team, but it's a Colorado team. It's mid-season. I don't think we can read too much into what they've already done.
I mean, it sure seems like no matter how Colorado runs, they'll come into Pac-12s and with a K to go, it'll be like, looks like the Buffaloes are coming up strong. Looks like they might win this thing. And you can even say that about, NCAA championships as well. Coach Wetmar, obviously the brilliant tactician. He's won obviously his girls won last year in Wisconsin, but he's also had men's and women's teams win here in Terre Haute. We always see them run as a pack through about 3K, and then they start to really turn the screws a little bit. I think because a lot of these girls are a little younger, and they haven't seen this Terre Haute course before. So I think it's a perfect opportunity for them to flex a little bit and, again, get those kind of mental visual cues and get a little more comfortable with coming out to Terre Haute coming in November.
Sage Herta and Tabor Scholl led the team at Notre Dame as expected. Herta, red-shirted outdoors, would have been the NCAA favorite in the 800 had she run that race, ran 2 flat .99, and the 800 also had a nice 1,500-meter personal best of 4:09. Rachel MacArthur, a transfer coming in to help them, so they have depth. I think we're going to see a different team than we saw 2 weeks ago at Joe Piani. One more storyline I want to touch on for the women's team race, freshmen, the presence of freshmen leading 2 of our top contenders. For Washington, it's Melanie Smart, and for Michigan, it's Erica Vanderland.
Yeah, Melanie Smart, the Aussie coming in for Washington, amazing track credentials, just coming out of what we would call high school. I think she's almost under the she almost slid under our radars, over the off-season transfer window, and having her back up, that solid core that Marisa Powell has in Katie Rainsberger. I mean, if Katie has a good day and then Smart can continue to progress, Washington looks really, really strong, and I'm actually really excited to see them cranking at 100% and having all their girls kind of have the green light to go. I feel like Coach Powell, likes to play the game a little bit, not have everybody, have a swing, a green light on a 3-2 count. So, I think Washington women are super interesting, especially if Rainsberger and this Smart freshman continue to roll.
Yeah, and for Michigan, Erica Vanderland has led the Wolverines in all of their meets so far, and Michigan, they make no bones about it. They don't care who their first runner is across the line. They just care, once one gets across, how quickly the other ones come across. So it may not be a situation where she's the top runner all the way, but the fact that she's All-American is huge for them. Before we go any further, dive into the men's side of things, Alex, let's take a look back at the 2018 season. It was quite a season for Morgan McDonald, for Colorado, for NAU. Here's a great highlight from last year.
We're here at the Thomas Zimmer Championship Cross Country Course, home of the Wisconsin Badgers and site of the 2018 NCAA Division I Cross Country Championships. It's the first time cross country championships have been in Madison in 40 years. We're here to actually put it all on the line and find out a lot of answers today. Some of the big stories, you have returning champs in New Mexico women.
It's great to have Kurgat, it's great to have Kaladi, Charlotte Prowse. Those 3 make up the undisputed best trio. New Mexico's 5, I think, is going to tell the story of this women's race.
Northern Arizona on the men's side, trying to go for their 3rd title in a row.
We've trained for whatever scenario is going to happen tomorrow, if it's slow, if it's fast.
And we've been preparing specifically for this meet for so long.
The environment produces just so much adrenaline for you. You don't need to do any sort of hyping yourself up. This moment is really all about composure and drowning out the noise and getting in your zone right here.
A little bit of break starting to form there in your top 25 or so as and Aurora pushing the pace today with Alio right there.
Right now, NAU, where we thought they would be, in control with a heavy lead going into the halfway point.
This is where the race begins. This is where you start to just ratchet it up, you know, in a calculated manner.
We're going to be coming up to 4K here in just a moment. Colorado with 4 in the top 25. At this point, Gordon, this might be Colorado's to lose.
I know. I mean, you look at this, it's a 60-point lead for Colorado.
And this pack is broken away, and our individual champ is going to come from this group of men here.
Here goes Kaladi.
This could be the move to win that individual title. They're trying to keep it at New Mexico.
Fisher, McDonald, Kurgat, and even the freshman, Isai Rodriguez, all look very calm in their face. So they're still just waiting to the final 200, 250 meters.
And Kaladi throwing in a surge and has 10 meters on the field.
Watch out, there's Danny Jones in the dark uniform, who said if the race was conservative in that pre-show that she would have a shot with that kick.
You can see Danny Jones right there about 10 meters back on the home straightaway. Can she wheel her in?
And here we go, the final straightaway. It's Morgan McDonald trying to win in front of the home crowd. Kurgat trying to take him down. Fisher trying to win his first title. Danny Jones has made the pass on Wayne Kaladi, and it looks like Danny Jones might run away with this. Come to the finish line. The crowd is so loud here in Madison.
Colorado goes 1-8, 15, 22. Colorado might win this.
What a finish and what emotion there at the finish line there for the Colorado Buffalo.
This is incredible. We were just talking about the 2000 team that won the individual and the team title here 18 years ago, and we did it again, and it's unbelievable.
With a team point total of 65 points, Colorado Buffaloes and head coach Mark Watford.
Back to back to back 3 times, it's like mentally it's the hardest thing ever.
The first team to win 3 in a row since Arkansas did it, 1998 to 2000. The Lumberjacks of Northern Arizona and head coach Michael Smith.
Great look back there at the 2018 NCAA Cross Country Championships from Madison. Big days from Danny Jones, the Colorado women, Morgan McDonald, and the NAU men. And the NAU men yesterday, Alex, took care of business. They are not here today, though, and there are some teams that are going to hope to do the unthinkable, to do what looks to be the impossible, which is to stop them from winning 4 in a row.
Yeah, one of those guys that's going to try to chop into the Lumberjacks is Connor Mance, you know, for leading BYU Cougars today. He's a front runner, and you mentioned him earlier. He's a little pre in him. You know, maybe not the smoothest stride up front, but the dude does not he does not shy away from a race. He'll tuck in behind anybody, no matter what their PR. Connor Mance is going to try to give the BYU boys, BYU men, a chance to contend.
Yeah, and for BYU the last couple of years, it's never been about depth. They've always had a huge contingent of guys who are All-American potential. It's a matter of how many you can get in that top 30 and top 40. With Mance, you have a low score right there, but the issues with BYU, we saw him a couple weeks ago at Dellinger, when they got upset by Oregon. Mance won. They had 10 guys in the top 30 of the race, but they still lost. So today is all about trying to figure out who's the second, who's the third, the fourth, and closing those gaps from Mance to everybody else, because they do have that depth to win, to get a spot on the podium. It's just a matter of closing up those weak spots.
Yeah, and I think another team that's going to be in a similar position is their mountain rivals in Colorado. Strong top-end depth with the leaders of Klecker and Dressel, two guys that have been in the NCAA game for a little bit,
right?
And are what, just feel like those blue-collar kind of grinder type salt of the earth elements that Colorado likes to curate. And also, those guys came into the Colorado program right when they were coming off of basically their last men's team title. And gosh, those guys are just pining to be a part of that. They want that ring. They want to cement their legacy, but they gotta bring up their 3, 4, and 5 with them, and I think that's going to be one of the biggest storylines to watch today. Is how legit are the Herreras and some of their freshman talent?
Yeah, and they're counting on freshmen at the Joe Piani Invitational. They came through. Kashawn Harrison, who we'll talk more about in a little bit, was their 4th guy. Alex Horniker, senior, was their 5th, but their 1 through 5 gap was pretty good at Joe Piani. If they can take another step forward today here, you're looking at Colorado in a very good position because Joe Klecker's one of the best runners in the nation. I mean, indoors in the 5,000, runner-up to Morgan McDonald. I mean, he is one of the absolute best. Dressel, Herrera, obviously a lot of experience there too. Let's talk now for a moment about this individual race because it's very interesting dynamics. You have a guy who burst on the scene last year, who we haven't seen since indoors. We have a guy brand new to the NCAAs who we didn't know about until a month ago. And then you have someone like Mance, who's been around and comes from has a team that he's trying to pull along as well.
Yeah, and all those guys are going to be front runners too. And we really haven't seen a men's race have someone go straight to the front and try to blow things open from the beginning. We've seen people try it at Terre Haute here, but we haven't seen it really in the last couple of years. It's been a little more tactical. I'm really interested to see if some of the Campbell crew, tries to push things from the gun early. This straightaway, this 800-meter straightaway that kicks off this event, and there's not a ton of wind, I think they're going to set that. We're going to know our answer pretty soon, what sort of race and what sort of strategy these guys are bringing.
Yeah, Thanas Kiyoko of Campbell won the Live and Lou Classic 22:58, ran it from the front. He's got a teammate, Eamon Kemboy, who's very strong as well. Isai Rodriguez for Oklahoma, back for the first time since indoors, didn't run outdoors, but 4th in the NCAA last year as a redshirt freshman.
We kept
a lot of questions. There's a ton of questions here.
I mean, we just kept seeing that guy, and we're going, are we sure? Are we sure he should be up there? And so, Coach Dave Smith's had some really strong runners here on the Terre Haute course. Can he bring the Cowboys kind of back into that relevance that they had for so long? I think, he's in a great spot because no one really expects him to be to be the front runner,
right.
But he does great when he just latches on to guys. And we saw that at NCAAs last year. He can latch and he can hang. And so perfect situation for him to have a good day today.
Yeah, so Kiyoko, Mance, Rodriguez, 3 of the many men to watch. But before we go any further, let's go down to Johanna Kreshel, who's by the team tent area to give a little bit of insight on the final preparations.
Hi, thanks guys. I'm Johanna Gretschel, and I am here on the ground right now at the Laverne Gibson Championship Cross Country Course. As you can see on my right, we are literally on the start line. That white line with white boxes indicates each team's specific start time, and each team also has their own black crate situated right behind the start line that will be used to store all their warm-up gear, sweats, headbands, gloves that they wanted to warm up in but don't actually need for race time, because let me tell you, it's starting to get a little warm out here. Now we're going to pivot over here and take a little glimpse at the athlete village right behind me. To my left is the medical athletic training tent, which athletes can use for any last minute taping or just water they might need. Got to stay hydrated. Also behind me, you can see all of the white tents. Each team here has their own tent to keep insulated from the cold and to use for whatever pre-race routine they might need to do. As you can see, a lot of people are actually out on the grass right now doing their last minute strides, but people are also in there tying up their spikes, doing some last minute stretching, or visualizing their race right now. Most people here did a course jog yesterday, or they've probably even raced here before. So right now is the time to really visualize what they're going to do for every mile of the race. And in fact, being in that tent is a little more nerve-wracking than when you're actually out here on the line. Because by the time you get to the line, it's all physical. You've done the training, it's just time to do the race. Back in the tent, you're still trying to get your mind right. So that's where these athletes are right now. Now, I'd be remiss not to mention the most important feature of Athlete Village, which is Porta Potty Lane right behind me. We also have Porta Potty Avenue, Porta Potty Street, lots of porta potties, because when you gotta go, but you want to make sure you go before you hit that start line. That's my report from Athlete Village. Thank you, Kevin and Alex, who are now going to tell you about the top freshmen to watch in the race today.
And thank you, Joanna, with the critical aspects of this course. And she mentioned the freshmen. Let's talk about them. We already talked about two of them in Melanie Smart and Erica Venderlin, who are familiar with each other and this course because they've already been out here before at the John McNichols Invitational. And with the freshmen, you're always wondering, yeah, they can get one good race, yeah, they can get two, but when the season gets to its critical juncture, can they deliver?
Yeah, Vanderlin's really interesting to me, and coming into, a few weeks ago at the John McNichols invite, Coach McGuire mentioned how much his team is ready to run. They like to race. He kind of embraces that. I love that from Coach McGuire. Yeah. And, Vanderlin has stepped up, and I think that Michigan squad really just has this great, handoff mentality where it could be anybody's day, and great for them. Whoever is our number one today is our number one today, and it doesn't matter. And their pack running mentality is definitely their strength. And I was mentioning to you, the last time the NCAAs were here in Terre Haute, I think halfway through, Michigan was leading the women's race.
Yeah, on the men's side, the freshman watch, Isaac Kiprop and Kashawn Harrison. Kashawn Harrison, state champion in high school in New Mexico. His dad did the same thing. Finishes 10th in Foot Locker and has acquitted himself very nicely to collegiate running. If you're a freshman and you're a number 4 on a Colorado Buffalo team, you are very good. So watch him. He's critical to Colorado's team hopes as well. As we mentioned, you got Klecker, you got Dressler, you got Herrera, need those other two. Harrison's a big part of that. We're going to take a little bit of a break and give you guys a chance to go inside, learn a little bit about that BYU women's team, which we're going to see here in a moment. At the beginning of September, we went out to Provo to film a workout with their women's team. Let's check it out.
The qualities that allow a team to get to the top, sometimes those things become farther and farther away once you have success.
What emotion there at the finish line there for the Colorado Buffalo.
That's why defending and creating the circumstances that allow someone to win a championship are harder the second, third, fourth times around.
This will be a big upset for Alicia Monson.
Wayne Nicolati really putting on a clinic here.
Trust in the work that we've done, not in the work that we haven't done yet, because we all know there's more work to do.
Stop thinking about it, just go! Oh!
You just took down the national champion.
The hammer, though, has just been dropped.
The NCAA mean you could get smashed in the mouth early on, and you got to weather the storm.
Yeah, you can see it starting to hurt now as the pace has really gotten going.
This is a statement race. They want to show that, hey, I am the one to beat at NCAAs.
At this time, we will honor Staff Sergeant Selge and all of our lost soldiers with a moment of silence. And now, ladies and gentlemen, will you continue to honor this great country, the freedoms that we so cherish, the men and women, the first responders that defend our comfort and safety with the national anthem. Today, our anthem will be sung by Indiana State University track and field student athlete and presidential scholar, Emily Brady.
our stripes and bright stars, through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and rockets backlight, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does thy star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Emily Brody, ladies and gentlemen. Course time now is 10:35, 25 minutes before our first
Last one! Good job, good job! This is fun! This is fun! He was like, this is not the music I was expecting here in Provo. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I think the emphasis on fun is that's what we've tried to just like, hey, we want to be happy. We want to be, you know, finding joy in this. This is like, we get to do this, right? We get to come out here and come to practice every day. And so just having that mindset. So sometimes you just need to be reminded because, you know, halfway through the workout, it's not fun. It's hard. And so I just have to remind them, like, this is fun. You can do anything for 2 minutes. Just kind of little positive affirmations to kind of get them to keep going. Long distance, you're going to go 5 on, 4 easy, 4 on, 3 easy, 3 on, 2.5 easy, and repeat 2 times. But those 4 not racing this weekend, we're going to come back and probably do 2 to 3 800s. So just kind of in your mind know that. Again, very controlled, just looking at like working together. It's going to feel a little bit more difficult than what we did 2 weeks ago, but you should be a little bit fitter. So probably you're going to feel it on the second 5 minutes on. Just again looking for grouping. I'm going to have Anna regulate the pace on the ons, and we want to progressively get faster. Maybe just start 5:30, 5:35. Right? Like go by feel. Go by feel. It's going to be hard. It's not easy. And then on the recovery, make sure you're grouping up. Okay? And if someone falls off, hold them accountable. I feel like if you're always doing interval work, they're so in tune with times, and so they tend to compare. We did mile repeats last week, and it was just, well, last year we did this, so should we start out a little faster? And so this is kind of tricky because you can kind of get them to really get the same amount of work, but just kind of, instead of doing a mile breakdown today, doing it like this, just kind of keeps them a little bit more controlled and not chasing the time. We're trying to get away from outcome. I'm just trying to focus on the process. Totally different vibe this year, which is exciting.
More pressure.
20 seconds. No, you know, the crazy thing is like, we haven't even talked about, I mean, we did a little bit at camp, talk about some of the goals that we have. So I feel like you have to at least, you know, have a vision, but it was really process oriented. And so that was good about just being smart, staying healthy, holding each other accountable, taking care of the stuff you need to do away from running. Those were the things they talked about. And at the end, there was a silence like, okay, is anyone going to talk about, I think they know. They know what we're trying to do. And so, all right, 4 minutes! 4 minutes! Here we go, ladies! A lot of these women have been on, you know, last 3 years of teams. This is like my first group of seniors that's actually leaving, and so you don't have to make them believe anymore. They understand the shape they're in and the potential we have, and it's been great having our men's team do so well the last couple of years. I think we've really learned how to handle pressure because they've had so much attention on them, and you know, sometimes that hype gets to be too much, and so we've really just tried to focus on just putting our heads down and working, not worrying about rankings, not worrying about what flow track rankings are, or stride report, or the wood report. You know, we just kind of try to stay away from that stuff. On, good, 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 looks good, nice pack, nice pack. This one will be a little harder. Way to stay connected, Sadie, way to stay connected. It's really just about the pack running too, you know, that's kind of, I'm trying to figure out who we have right now, and I couldn't tell you. I mean, I don't know, in the past I've pretty much been able to have a pretty good idea, pending injuries, like who's going to be there, but this group's pretty deep, so as long as we stay healthy, I think they'll keep it exciting for me. 20 seconds! 20 seconds! Come on, ladies! Good, 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 good. Time. Hey, no gap, no gap. Stay with them. Come on. Good job, good job, good job. 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Regroup, regroup. You're okay. Come on, you can do this. Come on, keep moving. Keep her accountable, Emma. It's funny too, every time I give them a workout, I've always had to like slow the times up a little bit because I know naturally they'll go a little faster, and in their minds they feel like, oh, it's a really good workout if we can go faster than the times coach gave us. So you're just trying to get away from that too. This year it was like, guys, I'm gonna be really transparent. Last year it got to the point where I was calculating about how much faster you'd go per rep, and then, you know, giving you a little bit of a slower time just so you would feel like, oh, yeah, I had a good workout. I was like, a good workout is one that you finish feeling good, and yeah, we hit ballpark times. And so it's like, this year I'm just gonna be transparent and tell you exactly what I want, because there's this little trust issue of like me not trusting the pace they're gonna go and them not trusting the pace I'm giving them. So we're just trying to be a little bit more transparent about paces, and that's why they're always checking back with me to make sure, because we've had some situations where it's, I thought you wanted me to go faster. It's like, no, I didn't. Don't worry about the watch, just kind of keep it in control. Focus on your breathing, Aubrey, focus on your breathing. Great group, no gap. Come on, you can do anything for 2 minutes! The problem is that in a group this large, you're gonna have people that feel really good, and just there's a big talent difference in that group of, you know, 15 girls, and so, or women, and so that makes it a little bit challenging sometimes to gauge. Someone's always working a little harder than they should because they're trying to make that next travel group or make top 7 or be in the top 10, and I don't know, I'm just trying to get away from practicing with that intent, you know? It's just like, let's just practice, have a good workout, not to try to show me that you can be the person that makes the next travel trip. 1 minute! Throwing up?
Yep, coming up my nose.
All right. You got it, come on. Just wipe it off. You wanna go on that second group, or you wanna stay in that top group? Okay. Take some water and get moving. You fine?
Yeah, it's hard, but...
Okay, this 5's gonna be hard. Okay, we're gonna start over.
Going after, guys.
Ready, go. No, but just stay in your group, stay in your group, stay in your group. Don't go with them. Way to be gritty, Ember, way to be gritty. Hey, right there, right there, right there. Good, good, good. You three work together, right with them, Emma. Good job, ladies, good job. 90, less than 90 seconds. Three, 2, 1, time! 4 minutes. Yeah, Sarah, you gotta move. Hey, no, I got her. Go. You're okay. Let me move back to that second pack. You're okay. Feeling lightheaded? Do you feel like you're gonna throw up? No? Come on. This is hard. Okay? First couple workouts back, you're gonna be okay. Can you give me a 4 and a 3? How about we focus on the 4, but go back to that second pack. Okay? Was it a little slow? Did it feel?
I didn't. I had 5:35.
Hey, we just go by feel. Like, you guys still have some 800s, so you're fine. You'll have like time to do a little bit of work. Sometimes by the end of a workout, I'm like really tired. It's the altitude. I have to run or work out before their practice, otherwise I'm like emotionally and physically just like done. Oh, the coach's life. My focus for Erica this year is we're going to work on just finishing strong, and I feel like we'll be content with whatever comes with that. We just want to have some strong finishes. She's super talented, and it's a struggle for her being a mom to almost a 2-year-old now. I think I can relate to some of the hardships that she's going to go through this season, just being a mom. Focus on that breathing. Hey, you're doing great, Anna, doing great. Nice job, almost there. Fight through it, fight through it. It's not supposed to be easy. I think that's what makes her so strong and determined. If you make those sacrifices to do this, you're not just gonna show up every day. You're gonna show up and make it count. It's really inspiring for all of us. Good job, good job! Yeah, I mean, I think Erica has some big goals post-collegiate too, with Olympic trials coming up in 2020. So I think those are definitely in sight. I think for her, it's just experience. Last year was her first year back, and it was getting to that level of, I can be this good. I can be someone that is in the conversation of being one of the best runners in the country. And I would tell her that. I told her that early. It was at Park City. We did a tempo at camp, and after that, I was like, whoa. We got something really good here. You just don't know how someone's going to come back after having a child. And mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, she had just been so strengthened by that experience that it was like, hey, you're one of the best runners in the country. Like, I need you to start believing that. And I think it took the process of going to cross-country nationals, being at indoor NCAAs, and then outdoor NCAAs for her to really realize, I am this good. And so just confidence, and that comes through maturity and experience. So I feel like she's at that level now. She's arrived to believing in herself.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of changed. Like, I do feel like I belong in the front pack, whereas before I wasn't that confident in myself. So I think if I have that confidence, or if anybody has that confidence, they can be up there. So.
What's it like working with someone like Coach Taylor all these years?
Oh, she's amazing. I feel like we're so lucky to have her at BYU. She's like so passionate, and even though she has a family, I feel like she gives everything she can to the program and to us, and she cares so much. And I don't feel like you can find that in a lot of coaches.
And as a mom yourself, is there something you take away from her?
Yeah, like one thing she said to me was like, the things you do outside of your motherhood strengthens you as a mother. And so I feel like when you're a mom, you feel guilty, I feel like, leaving your child. And so when I'm out here, I just want to give it my all so that I know that it's worth it leaving my son for this time.
Okay, you're nervous because they're here. Yeah, and yeah, that's it. So just pretend like they're not here. And we're just having fun. And you're just going to go 3 in a line, and I don't care what the pace is. We're just going to get a little bit more. This is a hard one. This is it for the week. Like, this is the hard one. Okay, here we go. First one. Ready, go. Here we go, ladies.
Nice, girls, nice. Good job, ladies. Good job. 2:30. Might be a little short. You're good.
How about we just dial it back a little on this next one?
Yeah. Hey, I tried.
Okay, I know.
I said 75 at 4.
It's fine. It was a little quick. I know. That's fine. It's fine. 240 is good. Here we go. Last one. Ready, go. Here we go, ladies. Last one. I'll be impressed if he can keep up for like the first 200. Good job. This is fun. feel like crap. We keep pushing, keep pushing. Looks good, looks good. Rhythm, rhythm, rhythm. Good job. They always one step each other. Winning, Erica.
Like for me, like if I don't have a connection with my coach, like those things that they say doesn't really mean anything to me.
Good, good, good.
So when she said that on the last little bit of that last rep, like I really did feel it, and it really, I don't know, she has a way with words, she can get you pumped up, so.
Here we go.